Welcome to this EASE webinar. This is the second of our conference satellite events, and we are joined today by our premier sponsors, JAMS. We have Silvano Bonfatti and Abdoulaye Djimde joining us to discuss journal article management systems and editorial management techniques. I am Duncan Nicholas. For those of you unfamiliar with EASE and me, I'm going to give a bit of an introduction into the context of this webinar. And then we will hand over to Silvano and Djimde for our discussion. So people are still joining us. The numbers are still going up, which is great to see. So I'll give us a couple more minutes for everyone to join. Hello, someone joining from Port Harcourt, Nigeria. I have been there. I've given a workshop, a journal article publishing workshop there. That was quite a fantastic experience. I had an incredible barbecued catfish in Port Harcourt. Okay, so for those unfamiliar with EASE, the European Association of Science Editors, we are a collective organization of various different individual editorial roles, of which there are very many. Our membership includes everyone from copy editors, translation editors, language editors, to people behind the desk at journals, managing editors that manage the peer review, the academic editors, of course, who make the decisions of the journals, steer the strategies and directions of the journals. We also have librarians among our members, and all myriad other editorial roles that kind of escape me for defining them. But we also have many kind of vendors, industry, kind of technology systems developers, members as well, of which JAMS and the associated colleagues are members. I think several of your colleagues have been members of EASE for quite some time. We just celebrated our 40th anniversary as an association last year, or perhaps even the year before. Time is flying. And this conference, of which this session is a satellite event, will be our 18th association conference in the history of EASE. And the conference will be held in Oslo between the 14th and 16th of May, but we also broadcast it online as well. So we have online registrations, so anyone that isn't able to join us in person. So EASE is devoted to kind of upholding editorial standards, providing resources, training exercises, webinars like these ones, and a community for asking questions, being generally involved with, to increase the standards, quality of processes, workflows of scientific research publishing in every aspect, from the actual quality and techniques of authorship and writing to the way journals are managed, which this session is going to address, to the formats and models of publication, from subscription journals to various forms of open access. EASE ourselves have a Diamond open access journal, free to submit to, free to publish, free to readers, which is focused on the themes of EASE, all kinds of research, publishing, research management techniques and processes. That journal is called European Science Editing. And exclusive news for you viewers, we have this week just been accepted into the Web of Science, ESCI, the Emerging Scientific Sources Index, which is fantastic news. Congratulations to our editorial team there. And I think we may kind of address some of the qualities, standards, processes in this session today that will get journals indexed and get increase the kind of readership and dissemination of articles. So our conference in May, of which this webinar is associated with, is on the theme of misinformation in, well, I can't remember the exact title, editing in the age of misinformation. That is it. That's it. So as sure as you're aware, the state of the world at the moment is in perhaps a little bit more turmoil than usual, and misinformation in various forms is an increasing problem, whether it is deliberate disinformation or not so much accidental, but just kind of ambient misinformation, poor quality research, from up to kind of deliberate fraud, everything within the sphere of identifying quality information and the editor's role in curating that and guiding the standards. Those are the themes of the conference and what we'll be addressing. So, and JAMS are one of our premier sponsor of the conference, and this webinar is our second satellite event in the lead up to that conference. So I think you've probably heard quite enough from me. I shall hand over to our speakers today. Silvano Bonfatti, who's the Senior Product Manager at JAMS, and Professor Djimde, the Director of the Molecular Epidemiology and Drug Resistance Unit at the Malaria Research and Training Center in Mali. And yeah, without further ado and more from me, I'll hand you over to our speakers today. Thank you very much. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Duncan. I will speak first. I'm going to moderate this session along with Professor Djimde. And first of all, I would like to congratulate, because I learned now that the EASE journal reached this important target of being included in the Web of Science collection. So kudos, that's a really important target to hit. And before we start our conversation, I also would like to share a thought with Dr. Nota Temba, Editor-in-Chief of the Global Journal of Environmental Science. She was supposed to be with us today. Due to medical reasons, she couldn't, and we wish her a speedy recovery. That being said, the webinar today is called From Niche to Noticed, How Small Publishers Can Make a Big Impact. And we chose this topic because, well, the main reason is our product, JAMS, which stands for Journal and Article Management System, is mainly kind of devoted its mission to make the life of small and independent publishers easier. So before I start a conversation with Prof. Djimde, just a few words about who I am and what's the product I'm managing. I work in academic publishing arena since 2.5 years. Actually, the bulk of my experience, more than 15 years, is in information technology. I'm sort of a tech generalist with a lot of broad experience across different fields. So I'm kind of a techie with a keen sense of innovation and product disruption and all. And yeah, life brought me to this domain, the academic publishing, which is absolutely exciting. So I'm happy to be here. And since late 2022, I run JAMS as a product manager. So I make all the strategic roadmap decision on the product development. JAMS per se is a submission and peer review system, which covers the end-to-end life cycle of manuscripts for academic publishing, from submission to publication. And on top of all the coverage of the workflows, editorials, and production/publication, we offer some services for kind of to supplement the editorial staff working in scholarly journals, because we know that they are terribly busy. This is something we will talk about more in depth with our guest. Our guest is Professor Abdoulaye Djimde, and he's the editor-in-chief of the African Journal of Parasitology, Mycology and Entomology, as he will now explain to us. So maybe before we delve into the agenda for today, Prof. Djimde, I would let you introduce yourself briefly.
Okay, well, thank you, Silvano and JAMS and EASE for the opportunity to share some of our experience in recent experience in managing an African based scientific journal. My name is Abdoulaye Djimde. By training, I'm a molecular parasitologist. I'm currently a professor of parasitology and mycology at the University of Science, Techniques and Technologies of Bamako. My main research is focused on malaria, drug resistance, and clinical drug development. I'm also interested in genetics, genomics, and antimicrobial resistance. So that's my academic life. And I think I have been appointed as the editor-in-chief of the African Journal of Parasitology and Mycology and Entomology. And I think we'll delve more into that through the Q&A session. Yeah.
Of course. Thank you. May I call you Djimde, just as,
Yes.
just to make things easier?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
So essentially, we have a sort of agenda that is just meant to be the skeleton for this conversation, which I look forward to. And we'll cover kind of four main areas, Djimde. One is sort of let you tell the story of how this African Journal of Parasitology, abbreviated AJPME, how it all unfolded, how it was born, and the context, and then we will explore actually the more meaty part of the challenges you had to go through and overcome, the pain points in launching this journal and running this since, if I'm not wrong, 2022.
Yeah.
And then we'll actually talk about managing a journal next to some other activities and your academic job, and how tricky that sometimes can be, to conclude then talking about the future of it, and how do you see it, its mission, and I think we'll have enough to talk about. So yeah, without further introduction, what did you inspire to, or how did it happen that you were appointed as editor-in-chief for this journal? Can you tell us the story? We are very curious.
Yeah, well, like I said, I'm a professor, so I am paid to speak. So if I speak too much, you can stop me.
Yeah, I will be conscious of time, Djimde, don't worry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, the African Journal of Parasitology, Mycology and Entomology is the official journal of the African Society of Parasitology. So maybe a few words on our society. It started as it was founded back in 1980, so quite a while ago. The initially was the West African Society of Parasitology, Société West Africaine de Parasitologie in French. So it's mainly was pretty much francophone countries, francophone West Africa, the forefathers of the parasitology in West Africa, starting with Professor Samba Diallo in Senegal, and his colleagues and students created the West African Society of Parasitology. And in 2016, we decided to become to open up to the rest of the continent. So we changed the name from West African Society to African Society of Parasitology, and made opening towards Anglophone Africa. Although still we are not really satisfied with the participation of our Anglophone colleagues. It's mainly Francophone African countries that participate into the society. So it's that society that during our Congress decided to have its own scientific journal. Mainly because Francophone scientists have very little visibility because of language barrier, because of many reasons, primarily language barrier. We have very little visibility, and parasitologists have even less visibility in terms of the kind of work that we do and try to publish.
Why is that?
Well, you have to publish in English, and we are Francophone.
Okay, for the language barrier. Okay, I thought parasitology was even.
Parasitology is also not a mainstream not a mainstream disease. If you look at the list of tropical neglected diseases, most of it is parasites. So
no, I admit my ignorance about parasitology.
Yeah, exactly. That's the reason why we are neglected.
Okay, that makes sense. Fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah. So on the Congress of the Society in 2015, the members decided that they want to create a journal, a scientific journal. There are smaller journals and sort of national journals that have very little reach beyond the little circle of people in that country. And there are a few French journals where and our people used to publish, and most of those journals back then were French, published in French. So we wanted to have a sort of real journal that will be managed using normal standards of international journals. And we wanted to increase the visibility of African parasitology. So we from the get-go wanted to have a proper journal, not something that some colleagues cook in the secretariat to post online or something like that. So we didn't want to go that route. We want to have a proper journal. So the society appointed my late boss, Professor Ogobara Dumbo, as the flag bearer of that initiative to get the journal up and running. So he had asked me to actually take care of it, and I was very hesitant. At the beginning, I was very hesitant. I was foreseeing that it was going to be a lot of work, and I'm very busy. I'm very, very busy. So I was trying to chicken away from it when yeah, unfortunately, my boss passed away. May he rest in peace. So since that was his will, I felt the moral obligation of stepping in and taking this forward.
I see.
Yeah, that's how I found myself into the editorial chief of this journal.
That's quite a story.
Yeah.
Jimde, just out of curiosity, were you alone? Did you have already something resembling to a team for you, or was it a one-man show at the beginning and you had to build everything from scratch?
Yeah, we had to build everything from scratch. I was just by myself, and with this request from my late boss, and I started looking around, trying to understand what this is all about. I had no idea about publishing, and I started discussing with colleagues who have been in the publishing business, especially Phil Rosenthal, the editor-in-chief of the American Journal of Tropical Medicine and Hygiene, and Iruka Okeke, who was a managing editor of the African Society of Laboratory. So I started talking about people who have been in that sphere to try to understand what it is and how to go about it, starting creating the journal, and then I had to learn to create the journal and then to run it.
So did this person act as sort of mentors for you, that coached you, that taught you the ropes?
Yeah, they actually told me, what most of them didn't have experience in creating the journal. They had experience in running the journal. So creating the journal, it was I started by trying to and I had no funding, so there's no money. So I started by looking for funding, trying to write grants, and that's, as a scientist, that what I know how to do, writing grants left and right to ask people for support. I realized that nobody's interested in supporting you to start a journal.
Really? Oh no. So that was particularly tough.
Yeah, they're happy to fund your research, but funding a journal, I had nobody that was even interested in helping.
But if you allow me just to go back to what you said earlier, I just want to say that it feels good that in an era, right now, the moment with artificial intelligence and ubiquitous IT tools that you have, having people that still say I learned because I had mentors. So this human factor that you turn to people, and these people are helping you out, and teaching you the bearings, and you get to get something running thanks to this aid from real people. This feels good, Djimde, I have to say.
Yes, that's really it has been quite helpful having colleagues you can go to get information, and so
nice.
So for the creation of a journal, we were faced with the funding problem. So I went back to the society. That was a good thing, is that I had the back of the society, the African Society of Parasitology. So I went to the society and told them that there's nobody to help. So we need to bite the bullet and come up with the money that is needed. But I did the homework of figuring out, talking to various publishers and figuring out the cost of starting the journal, and the cost that it would take for us to at least have 2-3 years of running, even if we had no paper. And so I did sort of a market evaluation of the situation, and I had a budget that was required to start with. So I went to the society and told them that this is what we need. If we want to have a journal, we have to find the money. So the society decided to do a sort of crowdfunding. So the African Society has chapters in most of the Francophone countries. So you have Malian Society of Parasitology, Ivorian Society of Parasitology, Senegalese one, Togolese one, Benin, etc. So each of the society decided to the national societies decided to share the budget among themselves. And on top of that, individual people who are willing to help also decided to pitch in. So that's how we got the first budget, where we put together a sort of crowdfunding from the African Society of Parasitology, and we were able to raise the funding that was needed to get started. And then from there, I started shopping for publishers, and that's how I landed with JAMS.
That's an awesome story, and absolutely tremendous bottom-up sort of initiative with this crowdfunding from the different societies across the Francophone West Indian societies. That's so cool, and it worked. So it's so comforting news that these sometimes you say, yeah, this will never work out, but eventually it did work. Yes. If you stick to and you follow through.
Yes.
Can we for a moment just switch gears, because there's something really important, and I'm super curious about asking you how you dealt with these and how you addressed these, maybe the most common challenges of scholarly journals in terms of visibility, for example. So, how do you let people know that you even exist in the first place? You are new on the block. And how you make your research, the stuff that you publish, how do you make it discoverable so that you are part of the main narrative in that specific science field, which all adds then to the reputation problem, because I guess that then, through visibility and discoverability, you slowly start to build a reputation for yourself.
Yeah.
How did you go about this, and how are you currently going? Because I think it's an ongoing challenge, right? It never ends.
Yeah, that's the number one problem we have. In our case, we again having the back of the African Society was very helpful. The society today has the better part of 250 members. And we have every 2 years we have our Congress. So we get together. It's a small society, so we all know each other, and it's different generations from our bosses to our students. So it's a sort of small community of parasitologists and entomologists that pretty much all know each other. So we started by really, and everybody knew about the society, the journal, because they had to pay for it. And that was quite useful because they had to pay for it, so they already knew about the journal. So, but we had to really have good standards. We wanted to have good standards, so the publication, we didn't compromise. We didn't want to compromise about the quality of the papers that would come out. And so we put together an editorial board with very known scientists that people have a strong reputation in our field. And from there we started by making the case of society members to submit their work to their journal, because it is their journal. And then we sort of made it known by our colleagues outside, our collaborators. And that's how we started. And we at every occasion we encourage society members to submit their work. Even although it's the society members who paid for the journal, and then they all are very supportive, it's still at the end of the day, it comes down to, if I publish my paper in this journal, would it be seen by the rest of the world, and would it be recognized by the scientific community? So for a new journal, that has been very, very tough. So it took a lot of lobbying and convincing to have the first submissions, and we went through the but people were already happy to see that the submission process itself was like the standard international journals, because like I say, in our smaller papers, you just send a Word document or a PDF file to somebody by email. Well, for this, the JAMS system is a submission system that is similar to what you find with other publishers like Elsevier's and others. So so that sort of brought more credibility to our journal. And then the review process, we also had a stringent review process. And so we go through the normal editorial work of checking the format and this and that to make sure that they adhere to our format. We have our website where all the details are there. So if you don't adhere, we send you back your manuscript so that you fix it and send it back. And then we go through the review process. And then, if it is accepted, it goes online. So we wanted to increase the visibility, so we wanted to publish in English, although we know our niche was Francophone Africa. To make it easy for our Francophone colleagues to publish in English, what we did is to invite publications in French. So you can submit French or in English. So if you submit in French, we have reviewers who are Francophone who will review your paper in French. And so all the review process will happen in French. And then once the paper is accepted, we do the translation into English. So, but if you submit in English, then it just goes through the editorial process through reviewers, etc. So that was also helpful, because Francophone colleagues can see that they can write in French, but the paper will end up being published in English.
Yeah, that's the big payoff. I guess it also lowers the barrier for them. So they don't need to worry about how I need to translate my work in English before submitting. They can straight submit in their native language, and then the translation is finally taking place if the paper is rigorous, is accepted, which for them is value. Like, it's something they don't need to worry about.
Absolutely.
And can I linger for a second on the people aspect? Because you mentioned two very important things. At the beginning, you mentioned that you built your editorial board for the AJPME, and as well, also you rely, of course, on a pool of reviewer to check the manuscripts so that they are sound and that they are rigorous. How difficult was it? If you can specifically also address the editorial board part, how did you do it? Did you lean into your personal network? Did you rely on your collaborators' network, in turns, kind of ripple effect? And also, how about the reviewers? Because also a very sensitive, complicated topic.
Yeah. So we started by having a small committee from the committee of volunteers from the society. We seven of us that constitute sort of the board of the journal, and from that board we discussed who we will invite in the editorial board. We decided to have specialty editors in parasitology, in mycology, in entomology. So each of these major disciplines have specialty editors, and we identified members that we'd invite in the editorial board through our knowledge of the field. So both African colleagues as well as Europeans and Americans and Asians. So we have different people that we invited to be review to the editorial board, and so that really we had very few people who turned us down when we asked them to join the board, but the main difficulty is the speed in the review. That is a problem. Once if the paper is checked and it's worthy of going out for review, you send it out to 5-6 different people, and maybe you have 2-3 people will say yes, and then you give them some time to review, and then they almost never come back at on time.
Yeah, you chase them. Yeah, we know.
Have to chase them. So so you pepper them with emails, and if that doesn't work, then I get on the phone.
Yeah. Yeah, we know that. Well, that's a common problem. It's not only for your journal, Jimde, I guess. But yeah, that's a scarce resource, unfortunately.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, but we are getting there slowly.
But about getting there, because now it's a nice segue to a question that I really, really wanted to ask you. Like, we talk about the negatives, like, I mean, not necessarily the negatives, but the hardships, the trouble, the hurdles. How about the positive? Like, has there been a moment where you said, something happened, like a breakthrough moment, and you said, yes, we are making it, we are having an impact, or something like that? Is there such a moment?
Yeah, well, the first one was when I saw the first paper formatted by JAMS. I was very happy to see it. Just looked like a real paper.
Yeah, that's nice indeed.
Yeah, so that was really cool. I was like, okay, so we can do it. So then we started having papers coming out, and every time it comes out, we broadcast in we are not on PubMed yet, and we are not in the main platforms yet. So we have to sort of make our own promotion of our papers. And we have a mailing list of the society, so we broadcast at the mailing list of the society. So we were at some point, I find out how to look at the metrics, and when I saw that we were being read in about 40 different countries.
Wow.
Yes, I was really blown away. So we have readership in Asia, in America, in Europe, in Africa. So that's really was seeing that people are actually downloading our paper from paperwork from Francophone West Africa is being read in Iran or in China, and that's really
terrific.
Yeah. So we hope that we are contributing to scientific knowledge, to disseminating work that is being done in our neck of the woods. So yeah, that's quite rewarding.
And we'll get back to that when we will before then giving space to the Q&A at the end, but we will talk about the future of the journal. But before that, just one thing that is really, you mentioned it at the beginning, like you didn't want initially to take on this challenge because you knew it was going to be tough.
Yes.
And you were already super busy. Now you're even busier.
Yeah.
How do you manage that? How do you cope with and balance your workload as professor, academic, and the academic space with the publishing one as editor-in-chief? So you are at the very top of, you're the authority in the AJPME journal. How do you manage both?
Yeah, well, that's the difficult part. But again, it's a matter of getting the right people around you, and
Yeah, of course.
and delegating. We have these specialty editors that are colleagues that when the papers come, I call on them to check it. And initially we started with a senior colleague who I was hired as a deputy managing editor, who was quite helpful in looking at the papers before they go out, when we feel that the specialty editors were not responding as fast as we wanted. And we managed to enlist the support of a assistant, editorial assistant, who was absolutely new to this kind of job as well. We all had to learn how to navigate the JAMS system, and
yeah. I hope it wasn't too hard.
Well, we are getting there with your help. Sometimes, as you know, we've called on you to get us over issues and stuff.
That's natural. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's if you surround yourself with the right people, and you are not afraid of delegating, it's the only way you can manage, because it's really a job on top of what your normal things to do. And there also is the drive of succeeding. I feel this as a moral responsibility to the memory of my late boss, and I don't want this journal to fail. So despite all of the other stuff I have to do, I take it very seriously.
We have the first question that was posed, and instead of having at the very end, like it usually is, I want to sort of break the codes and ask you this question now. Somebody's asking, no, hold on. That was not the question I've seen. That was about advertising service. So maybe it was in the chat then. Yeah. Lucia asked, have you used any paid advertising for the journal to attract submissions or expand readership? If so, what kind?
Oh, actually, maybe that's something we need to learn. We've never done that. Yeah, maybe that's something we need to learn how to do it. I know that for paper journals, people sort of have paid advertising that they put in the journal. When you read it, you have to read that ad as well. So for electronic journal, I don't know how to do that. So maybe we need to learn something there.
Cool. Well, thank you for replying to this question. We have others that are clicking through. We'll address them later, because there are still a few things that I would like to ask you, Djimde. And as you're talking about managing your two, work streams as professor and editor-in-chief, besides surrounding yourself with the right collaborators and delegating as much as you can, any special trick in terms of, for example, tools or processes or routines that you follow, or best practices, something that up your sleeve that sort of is giving you special skills in coping with your super busy schedule?
Yeah, well, that sort of falls under time management. Basically, I have set aside a couple of hours every Tuesday afternoon And so every Tuesday afternoon, I work on the journal with my small staff, which is just two people. The senior deputy managing editor, and the editorial administrator. So yeah, we have that time set aside. It's not all the weeks that I am able to devote these 2 hours. So sometimes if I don't have enough time, we can do it another day. Or yeah, the fact that you can go on the system even on your smartphone, sitting in your car, and things like that can help
Of course.
in catching up. Yeah, so it's the main thing is really chasing reviewers. Yeah,
Yeah,
the main
that's the
issue
more time consuming, I guess.
chasing reviewers. Yes.
And I just realized that today is Tuesday afternoon, Jimde. So I hope that these are not the 2 hours that you usually spend with your journal collaborators, else they will miss you. Just kidding. Anyway, coming to the final question, before then we open the floor up for the Q&A. As I said, there are already a few questions that are being asked by the audience, and please ask more. I appreciate really this interacting audience participating to this webinar. That's very cool. About the future of your journal. So it was, if I'm not wrong, it started in 2022, right? So it's almost 3 years now. How are you seeing it evolve? And is there any specific goal or milestone that you have in mind? You're allowed to dream, of course, but also to be realistic and say what's your vision for your journal?
Yeah, well, the first milestone is that we need to reach recognition by there is a body that called CAMES. It's a sort of organization. It's an Francophone Africa universities organization that does promotion at the university. And so everybody, scientists, researchers, or teachers have to publish, and they have to go through that promotion system. So, and there are a number, you need to fulfill a number of criteria for a journal, for your publication to be accepted in that as part of your promotion, and where you publish is part of it. So we are trying to get the AJPME to be recognized by the CAMES board. Once that happens, so our teachers and students, and there will be more what they publish in our journal will count for their promotion. So that is a milestone that we hope to reach this year. Our next milestone would be to be on PubMed. Yeah, we hope to do that.
That's one of the questions from the audience, indeed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So our next milestone is to be on PubMed, and so that we hope to work on that either later this year or next year, so that once we reach PubMed, then we think that we will have more visibility, and we can attract papers from way beyond our current niche. And yeah, that's our hope. And then, we will work hard to increase visibility, increase our impact factor, and grow as a journal.
Yeah. Any particular strategy to getting indexed in PubMed besides hard working and steady publication volume? Anything you would like to share about that?
Well, that is also a learning curve. Like I said, I'm just new in all of this business, so I will have to find out how to do it, and I hope you will help.
We'll do our best to be supportive. Yes.
Yeah.
Two people asking, we have Pam and Iman asking related questions. So how do you manage the research integrity issues associated with publishing? That's Pam's question. And then Iman's question is, how do you avoid paper mill articles in your journal?
Well, in research integrity, I think there is they at least used to be a service in the JAMS system that checks
Yeah,
now there is
plagiarism check. Yes.
now there is another system that is being offered that so our papers go through that check from the publishers.
Similarity check. Yes.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and the paper mill, what is that?
Well, it's paper mill is like sort of fraudulent publishing entities that usually are spamming the academic community with fake paper or papers that are not actually scientific with the hope of getting published.
Well, yeah, that's the beauty of being a niche journal. You attract mostly people that you know. And our base is the African Society of Parasitology, and so we pretty much know the various authors that are submitting, and the teams where even if we don't know the author because it's a younger person, we know at least one senior member of the team is submitting the paper. So that because of that small community, we haven't faced that kind of problem yet.
Yeah, that resonates a lot. Like your local footprint, that sort of makes you, to some extent, immune to this paper mill virus. That's so important. Second question from Duncan before he left is, what are the top things you would like to develop or improve about your journal or about your current working in general?
Yeah, I think what we like to see improve is the number of submissions.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would love to have many more submissions than what we have right now. And you know, it's and the visibility, being able to be on PubMed and things like that. Otherwise, in terms of the scientific quality, it's a specialty area. So we really we think that we are having pretty good papers. We have rejected quite a few, you know, based on if it's not sound, if it's not scientifically sound, it won't go through. So despite the fact that it's a niche and we know each other and everything, yeah, we don't play with the scientific valid quality of the publications.
There's just one question that is coming, and I think it will also be relatable for you, Jimde. Is Bridget O'Boyle asking, and she's coming from a similarly niche journal as well. How do you manage conflicts of interest in such a tight-knit community?
Oh yeah, that's a very important issue. We follow the basic rules. So if the authors and the reviewers cannot be from the same group, and actually we don't send to review in the same country. So we check that they are not from the same institution, and they are not you know, collaborators. They're not working together in similar topics, and so it's the classical checks that journals do to avoid conflict of interest. Yeah.
All right. I'm a bit mindful of time. I'm super happy that there are quite a few questions that are being asked, so I'm really appreciative of that. Just maybe the last one, Jim, because then I think we ran out of time. Have you found social media to be useful? Mary Hodson is asking.
For our journal, no, actually, we have not used social media. So maybe that's one area we can explore to increase the visibility of our publications. We've mainly used plain email. We haven't used social media to promote our papers. That's something we should look into. Yeah.
All right. How about the average journal rejection rate? Lucia is asking.
Yeah, well, we've published 25 articles so far, and we've in the category of withdrawn or rejected, there are 16 articles. So it's
40%. Kind of.
Some are withdrawn because they just submit the paper and then they don't respond to emails anymore. But there are a number of articles that we just felt that are not worthy of being published. Yeah.
I see. Well, Professor Djimde, maybe the very last thing, that's my last question, is there any piece of advice you would give to somebody that, like you 3 years ago, is on the verge of starting this venture, running a journal, a new one, in a scholarly journal? Is there any piece of advice that you would give to your former self 3 years ago?
The main thing is perseverance is important, and the other thing is get your finances right from the beginning. Plan on having at least 3 years of sustainability, because at the beginning the revenue is not going to cover is difficultly going to cover the expenses that you will go. And in our case, I do it for free. We only have a couple of staff that are paid, and the cost of the publishing and this and that. So despite all of this, it's important to have at least 3 years of funding available before you start, to not run into major problems.
Thank you so much, Professor Djimde. It was a great pleasure to have you here and to have the opportunity to run this webinar in the lead up to today's conference in May. Maybe let's give the audience the website address of the African Journal of Parasitology, Mycology and Entomology. It's ajpme.jams.pub. ajpme.jams.pub. Thank you again. I'll be closing this session now.
Thanks to everybody for your time. Take care.
Take care. Cheers.